Ladies and gentlemen, I'm voting for President Trump, but why do you think I'm wearing this fantastic shirt? This amazing, amazing shirt. Well, Madam Secretary is going to be nominee. How do I know this? I know the Democratic Party. They're not going to lose with a person who's running for Senate. So that's pretty simple. They cheated Bernie Sanders in 2016, and NPR quoted me, so I'm not right about everything, but in 2015, NPR quoted me, and I said Hillary Clinton would lose swing states and she was unelectable. 538 said that Trump wouldn't even be GOP nominee. I stated all throughout my writing in the Huffington Post, the Hill, Salon, that Clinton could not defeat Trump. Nobody believed me. And at the end of the day, I was 100% right. Now, today, Washington Post, Hillary Clinton's America's scapegoat. What? And then Reuters fact check. There's a fact check on Clinton every other day. Why? Altered photos of President Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Condoleezza Rice. Do you know of any altered photos that, why is there a fact check if Clinton is not running? Why is this important? Why would Reuters to help, because Biden is going to be the big issue. Also is, I'll get to the Washington Post article. This is basically an endorsement, but do you think that the Democratic Party will allow Joe Biden to debate Donald Trump? In the comments section, even if you disagree with me that you say it's Joe Biden because their process is pristine and fair, because, Bernie Sanders was cheated and Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign in disgrace, as were about 4 other Democratic Party officials. I want to know, though, do you think that they're going to allow Joe Biden to debate President Trump? This would be like a goldfish versus a great white shark. President Trump would devour him and eat him alive. And what was it about 6-7 months ago? It was like a climate change forum, and there was his eye swelled up. It right during live on television, he looked like one of the aliens in that series V in the 80s. It was just he looked like a reptile. It was like a reptilian Martian. I'm talking about Biden. He said he's running for Senate. The other day, he didn't know where he was. He was like, "Oh yeah, that's a joke." So I'm just joking about where I did. Thank you, everybody. Remember that old that commercial with the rapper Cleveland, and he's not in Cleveland. Biden is all over the place now. Whether when he tried to tank his campaign with Charlemagne making the "you ain't" comment, which was probably the most racist and offensive comment easily of the past 5-6 years, but of course everyone swept it under the rug because Democrats can get away with everything. He was actually trying to tank his campaign. Okay. The whole point is, do you think that they're going to allow President Biden to debate President Trump? So if it ain't in 3 weeks, I don't know, it's going to have to be before the end of September. The end of September, you have ballots being sent out. It'll be after the first debate, or right around the first debate, you'll have ballots sent out. You're going to have Hillary Clinton debate Donald Trump. There's no way they're that inept and incompetent. If they allow Biden, because I think that Clinton's going to take that nomination somehow. There's no other. Can you see Biden debating President Trump? Look at the visual. Think of that. Think of Bernie Sanders being cheated. Think of a political party that's really a political machine. Everything these people have said, from Trump worked with Russia, that was false and absurd, and that never happened. Trump withheld military assistance from Ukraine, that the notion is hilarious, that he would be afraid of Biden. All they have to, media has covered up every single gaffe, every single absurd statement, from the fact he wants to run for Senate, to he wants to make the cure worse than the problem, to the fact his meandering, like he made an offensive hand gesture, like stroking up and down. Okay, your mind doesn't have to wander too far, especially if it's Biden or Bill Clinton. This was live on MSNBC, and the female host was like, oh, she just laughed nervously. They don't care. They don't care. They don't believe Tara Reid, but they believe everything with Kavanaugh, so they're duplicitous. The notion that they would suffer politically by removing Biden somehow and giving it to Clinton that's hilarious also. I'm telling you, so let me just read this. So 6 minutes in. I'll just read this to you. Okay? Now, so I'm expecting Clinton to accept a nomination at the convention. So people don't get it, though. Like, people who say, oh, HA, you were wrong, oh my God, this looks so bad for you. No, it doesn't. It doesn't really look bad for me at all, because I will have one of the biggest live streams on this channel, biggest live streams, numerous ones. November 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. November is going to be an amazing month. President Trump's going to win. Not just, there's Helmut Norpoth, who stated that he has a 91, the professor at Stony Brook who predicted last election, stated that he has a 91% chance of winning. And then I was looking at this channel, it's like an astrology channel, and it is, I don't believe in astrology or anything like that, but like, it's hilarious too. Even the gentleman there was like, yeah, you know what, Trump's going to win, absolutely, definitely. So it's just hilarious. Like, and everyone who's looking at this objectively, whether it's, there's no chance that he loses. Aside from the only chance he loses with Biden, there's no chance he loses. There is a chance that he would lose with Clinton. Okay, because she could run as the first female president, and the Russians stole it from her and all of that. Okay, but I will have made the biggest political call of all time. But here, you have a situation where the Washington Post, just today, 3 weeks before the election, why are they calling Clinton America's scapegoat? Why is there a fact check regarding Clinton? Okay, I'm telling you, this is not just an obsession. I understand. I know what the Democratic Party is about. They're not going with Biden. I'm expecting Clinton to take that nomination so people actually watch it. There are like 10 people on the guy's live streams. So, I mean, it helps me. In the long run, look, I know that people might say, oh, well, you're just trying to cover your tracks or whatever. It's like, no, or like, it is better for me as a Trump supporter, better for my channel, more lucrative in the long run if it's Biden versus, be lucrative whatever either way, because if Clinton ever won, that would be or if Clinton loses again, that would be great. And obviously, if I make that if the prediction is Clinton, that's amazing too. But in the long run, but a defeat, because Trump would defeat Biden by a much wider margin than Clinton, much wider. There's zero voter turnout for Biden, zero. Aside from the hardcore anti-Trump people who will believe anything that he worked with Putin. That Russia interfered in the election, I want to know which Facebook ads swung voters in Wisconsin. Please, if you can't answer that, you're a buffoon or you're an imbecile. If you bring up the Russia probe or the Russia and Trump, I want to know which Twitter bots and Facebook ads, and I want to know how many votes were altered because of Russian interference, and I want to know which states. And I want to know if CrowdStrike has any evidence, because the CEO stated he didn't, that Russian intel officials hacked the DNC, because when questioned in the House, they said, we don't have any evidence. And then you had the Steele dossier that was purchased. Then you had James Clapper who said, well, we're moderately to highly confident. But the whole thing's for one person. It's not for Biden. But here, in the end, the true scapegoat sacrifice tells it that now she's like, this is like biblical here. Now Clinton is like, Clinton's reputation, don't you understand? I'm trying to tell you, Hillary's going to be nominee. Don't you understand? The Washington Post, right before July 31st, 2020. Okay, July 31st, 2020. Right before, like 3 weeks before nomination, the Washington Post is saying that Hillary Clinton has been scapegoated, and it's our sins. Do you understand? It's our problem. It's not a servers with top secret intel on them to hide communication. It was for convenience. And there was nothing wrong there because, James Comey didn't find intent. You don't need to find intent. You think Papadopoulos intended to delete a Facebook page to cover up, to obstruct justice? That's what they got him on. They got him on lying to the FBI about a meeting that he forgot the date of, but he still acknowledged. So they were all over the place. When they want to get somebody, this is the history of the FBI. When they want to get somebody, they stop at nothing. But then if they don't want to get somebody, they say, well, there was no intent. And so, anyway, forget about that. What about Libya pushing for the intervention? He came, we saw. I mean, we can go on forever. Voting alongside Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld. Calling young people super predators who must be brought to heel and who lack empathy. Okay? So, Hillary Clinton, this is if you're judging by today's standards, you can look back. And there's a joke that she made here. She called Mahatma Gandhi. And it's interesting. Clinton apologizes for Gandhi remark. Clinton apologizes for joking that Mahatma Gandhi, yes, this is in the New York Times, used to operate a gas station in St. Louis. So she called it a lame attempt at humor. So, okay, nobody is erasing Madam Secretary from history. And that's not just from the Super Predator comment to that to the 3 a.m. ad. We can go on forever. There are no standards by which they judge historical figures that they want to remove, but they would never remove both Clintons. And the litany of from the pages of history. The litany of things that they've done and said, from the crime bill to Bill Clinton himself had a whole history of racism. They would never remove them. Do you understand? Because it's not about sanitizing American history or making it pure for future generations, so we don't champion people who just weren't perfect or weren't racist, because you can look at these racist remarks and just the history litany of just what they did in Libya. There are now people being bought and sold in Libya. Could you imagine? That's President Obama's enduring foreign policy legacy. But my point is, in the end, this is the Washington Post today. In the end, the true scapegoat sacrifice tells us more about the sins of society in question than the goat. The hunting of Hillary was always more about us than it was about her. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Okay, from Whitewater to Comey's cover-up / email server investigation, they have been absolutely brilliant at finding ways to bend, push, manipulate the law, but never get caught within. The only time they actually got caught is when he was impeached for perjury. Bill Clinton was impeached for perjury and obstruction of justice in the House of Representatives. Trump was not. Okay. So they did. So it eventually caught up. Okay. Obstruction of justice is in the legal statutes, and perjury is in the legal statutes. Abuse of power and what is it? Obstructing Congress. Those aren't crimes. You could say that President Obama and definitely Bush, all presidents have engaged in that. But anyway, they get away with everything. We can go on forever. She was an excellent senator from New York. I watched her master the intricacies of defense policy. The intricacies of defense policy? She voted alongside Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld to get us into never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts that Bush got us into, and President Obama continued, and Trump is getting us out of. But they don't care about that. They care about personality. So when David Petraeus, she represented the United States brilliantly as Secretary of State. She did? Really? She did? She represented the United States brilliantly as Secretary of State, especially when it came to public diplomacy. Libya was not a brilliant... That was one of the worst foreign policy debacles in the history of our country, and of course, the worst in the history of their country, because President Obama, Clinton, and Biden helped obliterate that country. But here, she cultivated all over the years smart and dedicated staff that allowed her, that basically ran her servers, numerous ones. The emails of Brian Pagliano are missing. Nobody cares, do you understand? I don't even care anymore. The fact that I don't care anymore is a testament to I care, but apparently Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton, this stuff is never going to end. The Republicans, when they grow a spine, this stuff will never end. But here, the reality of Hillary Clinton was always more traditional, more Methodist than radical, okay, than the trumped-up fantasies about her. No, that's wrong. You can look at from when she used a 3 a.m. ad against President Obama, or when she literally spread a photo of President Obama in African attire, where David Plouffe, his campaign manager, said it was the most offensive and shameful fear-mongering of either side in the election. My rebuttals to this are completely irrelevant. Why are they irrelevant? Nobody, at this point, it's like, the point of this is that when they make the flip, nobody's really going to care. They're not, do you understand? If they allow Biden to go up against Trump in a debate, they have no chance, like zero chance right now. But then people will see that Biden's one fry short of a Happy Meal and would get completely clobbered and obliterated and decimated and steamrolled by Trump. Clinton can stand up to Trump. Clinton, she stands up to Trump. Not a fan of Clinton, but she has the gravitas. She could run as the first female president, and they're shady and they always cheat. And they're never everything that they have stated from the past 4 years, Clinton winning Texas, Trump getting impeached because Trump working with Russia and then getting kicked out of office because you had people saying that. I've been more spot on than you could put litany of people from them saying that Clinton would win in a landslide or that Clinton would win. I said Clinton would lose. Them talking about Russian interference. Anyone on YouTube who talked about Russian interference was completely wrong about everything that they talked about because they didn't explain which Facebook ads swung voters in which states. They never even gave any evidence. They gave a high to moderate confidence assessment from James Clapper. Or they didn't even know it existed. Basically, they just regurgitate CNN, MSNBC, The Washington Post, The New York Times, American media. So there was no Russian interference. I want to know which Facebook ads interfered with which states voting, or the voting in which state. I want to know. So that's nonsense. Okay, they never talked about Russian interference before they lost. That's the scapegoat, not Clinton. And that's the scapegoat that she literally purchased with the Steele dossier. So, Twitter bots and Facebook ads did not influence the election because you can't find one article from 538 or any polling expert or any mainstream publication that said, gosh, these Facebook ads are really making a stir. Nobody cared about social media ads. Nobody. And nobody switched their vote. Then you say, well, the Russians hacked the DNC, but they didn't hack. Let's just go with that. But they didn't hack Clinton's servers? Because those were outside of the United States government and they were unencrypted. So the Putin is smart enough to hack the DNC with no classified data and to do what? Oh, to show that Debbie Wasserman Schultz cheated Bernie and that to force her to resign, which meant that Clinton didn't win fair and square, or Clinton won fair and square and the DNC emails were completely irrelevant to the future of the Democratic Party or to the outcome of the election. Which one is it, Democrats? So they're all over the place. They were wrong about that. They obsessed over that. They obsessed over Ukraine. They obsessed over Stormy. They were wrong about everything. It wasn't a campaign finance violation. So, I was telling you the second that Steele dossier was published, I said it was nonsense. So, I'm letting you know that if they're incompetent and inept enough to go with Biden, I'll be right. I'll be half right. I said Hillary Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. President Trump is going 8 years, and it's going to be lovely because he's running against the biggest, most arrogant, most overconfident, most narcissistic imbeciles who've ever stepped foot on the planet. And their meltdown 2016 will be like a happy memory compared to this meltdown. But you shouldn't even be doing this. I was doing them a favor for the past 4 years, saying that Clinton was going to be nominee. They can only win with Clinton. Clinton gets them closer to win. She'll still lose, but she gets them closer. Hillary Clinton's going to be nominee. I don't know how they're going to do it, but if you think that I believe that Democrats are really running above board, there's no chance that I believe that. And I think everyone should kind of ask themselves, are they going to allow, this is the question you need to ask yourself, and subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel, by the way, and my Patreon is below if you want to support my voice long term. This is what every person needs to ask themselves. Are they really going to allow Biden to debate Trump? Because he'll get annihilated. So are they really going to allow that? Give me your thoughts below. Check out my live streams. They're every evening around 9 p.m. or so. And they go about 2 hours, and they're great. They're fantastic, and we're gaining steam. We get to like 400 or 500 viewers at once, sometimes well over 500, but it's pretty awesome. And this is like, 500 is not that amazing, but it's a lot more. It's not a lot more than most Biden live streams, but also it's like late at night. So the fact that I'm getting well over 500 viewers on my live streams, like, very late at night, it's pretty awesome. But it's like around 9 p.m. Pacific. Give me your thoughts. Thank you so very, very much.